Will Smith telling Jada Pinkett Smith he's done trying to make her happy and challenging her to go find that happiness on her own has set the internet on fire. In April 2026, Will Smith has been opening up about his relationship journey with wife Jada Pinkett Smith for years, and after the couple went public with their brief separation and Jada's subsequent romance with August Alsina during an emotional Red Table Talk, a past video of Will resurfaced in which he talks about retiring from trying to make his wife happy. And this is just the latest explosion in a marriage that has been detonating in slow motion for nearly a decade. So let's get into what happened. On April 19, 2026, a tweet went viral across social media. The post, shared by the account Dubs, stated that Will Smith told Jada Pinkett Smith he was done trying to make her happy and challenged her to find happiness on her own, adding that he felt she was so deeply torn, it may be impossible at this point. The clip racked up views, shares, and heated comments within hours. Now, the words themselves were not brand new. The clip was seemingly taken from around 2018, featuring the two-time Oscar nominee talking about his marriage to Jada. But what gave it renewed power was the timing. This was April 2026, a month in which resurfaced clips, fresh interviews, and legal drama all converged to reignite the most debated marriage in Hollywood history. In the video, Will is candid. He says, "I asked her what does she think is one of the biggest revelations that she had about love. She said, 'You cannot make a person happy.' And I thought that was a real deep idea." Then he goes further. He explains, "You can make a person smile, you can make a person feel good, you can make a person laugh. But whether or not a person is happy is deeply and totally and utterly out of your control." And then comes the line that stopped the internet. Will says, "I remember the day I retired. I literally said to Jada, 'That's it. I retire. I retire from trying to make you happy. I need you to go make yourself happy and just prove to me that it's even possible.'" That sentence, "prove to me that it's even possible," hit differently in 2026. Because by the time this clip resurfaced, audiences had years of context. They had the entanglement confession. They had the Oscars slap. They had Jada's memoir. They had the separation revelation. And they had, just weeks earlier, Jada going on camera to say that Will could never make her happy, no matter what he did. In a clip that's been viewed millions of times, Jada told the world that no matter how hard Will tried, he could never make her happy. "It is not his responsibility to make you happy," she said. "He can't. It's impossible." She went on to explain that she finally realized her happiness was an inside job, after years of expecting her husband of nearly 30 years to fill the void. So now, in the same breath of time, you have Will saying he retired from making Jada happy, and Jada essentially confirming that he was right to do so. Both of them, in separate moments, arriving at the same conclusion. This marriage was not going to produce happiness for either of them, in the conventional sense. Will added that after the initial shock, they started talking about how we came into this false romantic concept that somehow when we got married that we would become one. And we realized that we were two completely separate people on two completely separate individual journeys. And that we were choosing to walk our separate journeys together. Her happiness was her responsibility, and my happiness was my responsibility. The internet, however, was not interested in nuance. Social media was a bloodbath. Posts called it Jada's 2026 shaming tour, with users claiming she'd emasculated Will to the whole world, and wondering why the Fresh Prince was still standing there taking it. One viral video recap titled, "Jada Pinkett Smith randomly embarrasses Will Smith again in 2026." racked up the views, complete with side-by-side clips of Will looking defeated and Jada looking liberated. And if you think that was all, it wasn't. Because the month of April 2026 was just getting started. To understand why Will Smith's retirement message cut so deep in 2026, you have to rewind to the moment that redefined this marriage in the public eye. The Red Table Talk confession of 2020. Jada admitted to an entanglement with singer August Alsina while she and Will were separated, though still legally married. The word entanglement became an instant cultural phenomenon. It spawned memes, songs, think pieces, and an unending stream of commentary about the state of the Smith marriage. The scene itself was unforgettable. Will and Jada sat across from each other on her Facebook watch show, Red Table Talk. Jada confirmed that she started a friendship with Alsina 4.5 years prior, while she and Will said they were going through a really difficult time. Will stated plainly, "I was done with your ass. I was done with you. Jada went on to say she got into a romantic entanglement with Alsina. The confession didn't come out of nowhere. August Alsina had gone on the radio and spoken openly about his relationship with Jada, claiming that Will had given his blessing. The Smiths needed to respond, and what followed became one of the most dissected conversations in pop culture history. Jada later expanded, admitting she and August had an entanglement. While she and Will were separated, she explained, "It was a relationship. I was in a lot of pain and I was very broken. In the process of that relationship, I definitely realized you can't find happiness outside of yourself." That last line, "you can't find happiness outside of yourself," would become a recurring theme for Jada. Over the next 6 years, a mantra she would repeat in various interviews, books, and appearances, each time with a slightly different framing, each time producing a slightly different reaction from the public. But in the immediate aftermath of that 2020 Red Table Talk, the damage was done. Will Smith, the Fresh Prince, the guy who had dominated box offices and summer blockbusters for 2 decades, was now being publicly dissected as a husband who couldn't keep his wife satisfied. The perception was brutal, and it was about to get far, far more intense, because Jada was not done talking, not by a long shot. Fast forward to 2023, and Jada dropped her memoir, Worthy. After nearly 20 years of marriage, Pinkett Smith wrote that she was in a chronic state of discontent, and that her relationship with Smith had reached the point of irreconcilable differences in 2016. "It was nobody's fault as much as I wanted him to love me. That would never happen if I didn't love myself." And the same applied to him. "Will and I had pictures in our mind of what a happily married couple was, and our pictures didn't match. Rather than divorce, they decided to separate in every way except legally." Jada said on Today, "I made a promise that there will never be a reason for us to get a divorce. We will work through whatever, and I just haven't been able to break that promise." She didn't cite any specific incident that drove them apart. "I think by the time we got to 2016, we were just exhausted with trying. I think we were both stuck in our fantasy of what we thought the other person should be." That revelation shook the entertainment world. Jada started dropping breadcrumbs in a series of interviews leading up to the October 17, 2023 release of her memoir Worthy, revealing she and Smith had been separated for 6 years before the shocking Oscars night, and they no longer lived together, though she moved nearby. But Pinkett Smith also said on Today they aren't divorcing and are working on healing the relationship. So here was the picture forming. Will and Jada had been living completely separate lives for years. They were together but not together. Married on paper but operating independently. And the public had been watching them on red carpets and in interviews for years, completely unaware that behind the polished facade, the marriage had already been cold for a very long time. If the entanglement was the earthquake, the Oscars slap was the tsunami that followed. March 27, 2022. The Academy Awards. Chris Rock made a joke about Pinkett Smith's shaved head, a product of her struggle with alopecia. "Jada, I love you. G.I. Jane 2, can't wait to see it." Rock joked, referencing the 1997 movie that stars Demi Moore with a shaved head. Smith went up on stage and slapped Rock across the face, before sitting back down and yelling, "Keep my wife's name out of your fucking mouth." Smith was forced to resign from the Academy and was banned from attending Academy events for the next 10 years. The world collectively gasped. This was Will Smith, the man who had carefully cultivated a family-friendly image for decades, the man who made blockbusters and charmed audiences worldwide. And he had just committed an act of violence on the biggest stage in entertainment. But the detail that would later add an almost unbearable layer of irony to the whole situation was this. In an NBC News primetime special, Pinkett Smith said that she was shocked Smith had called her his wife at that time, since they had been separated for so long. "I think by the time we got to 2016, we were exhausted with trying," Pinkett Smith said. "I think we were both kind of just still stuck in our fantasy of what we thought the other person should be." Let that sit for a moment. Will Smith slapped Chris Rock on live television defending his wife, a woman who would later reveal she was stunned. He even used that word, because they hadn't referred to each other as husband and wife in years. From where she was seated in the Dolby Theater, Pinkett Smith initially thought the encounter was some sort of pre-planned sketch. I witnessed professional fighters laid down by the force of Will's hands in the boxing ring, more than once. This had to be staged. Otherwise, how could Chris be on his feet like nothing happened? She writes, "It's not until Will yells from his seat back up at Chris that I perceive the gravity of the situation," she continued in her memoir. Even so, I am unclear on the reason why Will is so upset. We had been living separate lives and were there as family, not as husband and wife. But when I hear Will yell wife in the chaos of the moment, an internal shift of, oh shit, I am his wife, happens instantly. The fallout from the slap was catastrophic for Will's career. After the slap, Will resigned from the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences and was banned from its events for 10 years. He also apologized to Chris, calling the slap unacceptable, and noting there is no part of me that thinks that was the right way to behave in that moment. And here's where the public narrative took a sharp and unforgiving turn. People began to ask, why did Jada not stop him? Why did she reveal after the fact that they were separated, essentially undermining the very premise of his defense? Critics pointed to her book Worthy, where she admitted they'd been separated for years and that she'd sought healing outside the marriage. Critics like Stephen A. Smith once called it extreme cruelty. Ana Navarro on The View flat out said Jada was emasculating and embarrassing her husband. The slap destroyed Will's carefully maintained public image, and in the years that followed, the perception grew that while Will was bearing the consequences, the ban, the public shaming, the career damage, Jada was out there on book tours and interview circuits, seemingly unbothered, dissecting the very marriage that had contributed to his worst public moment. Jada also took a fresh swing at the 2022 Oscars slap, stating, "We weren't even together at the time." Social media exploded with one viral tweet raging, "When will she stop publicly humiliating her husband?" This perception, right or wrong, would become the lens through which millions of people viewed every subsequent statement from Jada about the marriage. And in 2026, that lens was about to sharpen dramatically. April 2026 arrived like a perfect storm, in a whirlwind of March-April 2026 interviews that lit social media on fire. The 54-year-old actress served up another plate of marital truths that critics called Emasculation 2.0. If you thought the 2023 Worthy book tour and that infamous entanglement confession were bad, Jada turned the heat up further. It started with Jada appearing in interview clips discussing her marriage. In a viral clip, Pinkett Smith explained that she eventually realized she needed to find her own happiness instead of relying on her husband. Make yourself happy. It is not his responsibility to make you happy. He can't. It's impossible. But it took me forever. Hard-headed, stubborn, because of that romantic idea. And that's why I talk about checking the boxes. It's like I did everything I was supposed to do. You get to have your dream. How come I'm not having mine? And that's because Will was doing what he wanted to do. He was making himself happy. Then came the resurfaced Red Table Talk clips. In resurfaced clips from her infamous 2020 Red Table Talk, now going viral in April 2026, Jada explains that she could have kept the details private. Instead, she chose to speak her truth in a way that shielded her husband from further public scrutiny. This time, Jada said she went public about her entanglement with August Alsina to protect Will's ego. She didn't have to tell the world. She chose to, for him, and out of love. According to Jada, she could have kept everything private. So I'm like, well, I might have to speak my truth, but I'm also going to protect you. So if I got to look like the adulterous wife to make sure you're good, I'm gonna do it. Jada went further, saying she willingly accepted being painted as the villain to help the family move forward. Okay, I'm the bad guy. I'm the worst. Great. Let's be done with it. I wanted it done. You got your answer. I'm the adulterous wife. Let's be done. And let's move on. Jada said her decision was driven by codependency. She wanted the public narrative to move on quickly so the family could heal. The backlash was immediate and fierce. The internet was divided. Some fans praised Jada for a selfless act of love, arguing she sacrificed her reputation to protect her husband. Others accused her of rewriting history, controlling the narrative after the fact to soften her own role in the controversy. Many pointed out that the Smiths have long presented their marriage as unconventional, including Will's own past admissions about their open dynamics. This has led some to question whether Jada truly sacrificed anything, or simply framed the story in the most flattering light possible. Meanwhile, on top of the interview firestorm, the Smiths were also dealing with legal drama. Jada Pinkett Smith addressed claims from Will Smith's alleged ex-friend, Bilal Salam, in new court documents responding to his $3 million lawsuit. Jada responded to Bilal's allegation that he experienced weight gain, lost a romantic relationship, and was forced to flee the country. After the actress's family made threats towards him, Jada questioned the apparent lack of evidence pointing towards any emotional distress. In his $3 million lawsuit, Bilal claimed Jada publicly trashed him after he refused to help Will out with his Oscars fiasco. He said Will and Jada's friends made threats to him. After the family caught wind of him writing a memoir that would include information about Will, Jada said all of Bilal's claims are false, uncorroborated, and made to generate attention as part of an ongoing public campaign of harassment directed at her family. The actress said she never mentioned Bilal's name when making comments in the press and is asking the judge to throw out the entire lawsuit. Then 50 Cent piled on. On Easter 2026, 50 Cent posted a controversial message on Instagram, mocking Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith's marriage. The rapper shared a video of Pinkett Smith discussing her relationship with Smith, expressing gratitude that he isn't in a similar situation. 50 Cent's caption read, "God damn, Father God, thank you for not letting me get into no relationship like this. Happy Easter. God bless." In less than 11 hours, 50 Cent's post racked up more than 113,500 likes, 3,300 shares, and 11,000 comments. Many of the comments joined in with the rapper by calling out the famous couple, with several of them asking whether Pinkett Smith ever speaks positively about Smith. However, many of the comments pushed back, arguing that the comments made in the video had merit. And then came the viral resurgence of Will's retirement video, and the tweet that sparked this whole conversation. The collision of all these moments in a single month made April 2026 the most turbulent period for the Smith marriage. Since the slap itself, fans were split. Some applauded her for living her truth and inner work, while others said she'd turned their marriage into a never-ending public therapy session. At Will's expense, Jada revealed she's been loving every second of living separately from Will since 2016. 10 years of separate homes, separate lives, and apparently separate happiness levels. During a Today Show appearance, she said that having her own space is fantastic, letting her decorate how she wants, make her own rules, and get to know herself without compromise. When asked if she'd ever let Will move back in, she left the door cracked but made it clear the ball is in her court. After everything, the entanglement, the slap, the memoir, the interviews, the lawsuits, the April 2026 media firestorm, the question everyone keeps asking is, are Will and Jada actually done? The answer, like everything else in this marriage, is complicated. Rumors about Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith heading for a divorce are once again circulating online, sparking fresh speculation about one of Hollywood's most closely watched relationships. The claims have spread widely across social media platforms, suggesting the longtime couple may be ending their marriage. However, there is currently no official confirmation from either party, and no credible reports from major entertainment outlets supporting the narrative. Married since 1997, Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith have long been open about the unconventional nature of their relationship. In recent years, both have acknowledged living largely separate lives, while still maintaining a deep emotional connection. The latest wave of rumors appears to have originated from a parody social media account known for sharing satirical or misleading content. That's an important detail that many people missed in the frenzy. Not everything being circulated is verified. Not every clip carries the full context. The viral clip does not include any response from Will Smith. Public records and prior interviews indicate that Will has supported Jada's independence. He has even encouraged her to pursue her own happiness. In previous statements, he has described their marriage as brutal and beautiful, and has acknowledged that he cannot force her to stay or to feel a certain way. As of press time, the couple remains married. However, they have not publicly reaffirmed their commitment. In the wake of this latest interview, neither has filed for divorce. Representatives for both stars have not commented on the viral clip, and there are signs that beneath the public spectacle, there is still something real between them. In January 2026, they were spotted out together in Paris, marking the first time the pair had been seen out together in 4 months. Previously, Will had joined Jada to celebrate her 54th birthday at E. Baldy restaurant in Beverly Hills. That same month, they were seen having lunch at Nobu in Malibu. And even though they quietly split in 2016, neither Will nor Jada have plans to make their separation legally binding. As Jada put it, I made a promise that there will never be a reason for us to get a divorce. We will work through whatever, and I just haven't been able to break that promise," she told NBC in 2023 when she publicly confirmed their breakup. On Valentine's Day 2026, Will took a cozy approach, creating massive pillows featuring photos of Jada, their kids Jaden, Willow, Will's eldest Trey, and his mom Cherie Zampino. Life-size pillows for a family snuggle, Jada wrote on her Instagram stories alongside a video of the whole pillow collection. "Thank you, Will Smith. Happy Love Day, everybody." So they're sending each other Valentine's gifts, but they haven't lived together in a decade. They're separated but refuse to divorce. They're airing their most intimate grievances on camera, while still celebrating birthdays and showing up at fashion shows side by side. As Will once put it, "We call it brutiful." It was brutal and beautiful at the same time. At a public event, he called their union a sloppy public experiment. In Unconditional Love, he asked, "Can you show up and love somebody for the rest of your life, even when you don't agree with them? Jada is the best friend I have ever had on this planet, and I am going to show up for her and support her for the rest of my life." That statement, made in October 2023, still holds as the most complete summary of what this marriage is and isn't. It is not a traditional union. It has not been one for years, but it is a bond that both of them, for their own reasons, refuse to break entirely. Both Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith have addressed their relationship publicly on multiple occasions, often emphasizing that their bond goes beyond traditional labels. Jada, in particular, has spoken about redefining what partnership means to her, focusing on personal happiness and growth. Will has echoed similar sentiments, highlighting the importance of self-discovery within a relationship. These perspectives have led many to interpret their marriage as unconventional rather than broken. However, they have also contributed to ongoing misunderstandings about whether they are still together in the traditional sense. One of the key factors driving these rumors is public perception. In the age of social media, audiences often expect clear definitions. Either a couple is together or they are not. Will and Jada's relationship does not fit neatly into these categories, and maybe that's the point. Maybe the reason this story never ends, the reason every clip goes viral, every interview sparks outrage, every tweet becomes a battleground, is because the Smith marriage exists in a space that most people cannot reconcile with their own understanding of what a relationship should be. Will told Jada he retired from making her happy. Jada told the world he couldn't have made her happy even if he tried. And yet they're still married, still showing up, still in their own fractured and confounding way, choosing each other, whether that's love, loyalty, codependency, or something else entirely. The internet will keep debating. But one thing is certain, the story of Will and Jada Pinkett Smith is not over. It might never be.